said, Mama V, how are you?
I'm blessed, highly favored and all. And it's a Friday.
Yes, it is. And we have a great conversation today, fortunately. We're talking democracy because today is International
Day of Democracy.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So we're speaking to the CDD's Kojo Asante, and you're on that beat.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, because you're coming to us live. We have a number of conversations we want to have, deepening our own internal democracy, how far we've come, but we're also talking about the true independence of the prosecutor's office. That's been a conversation that it looks like it's now dawning on us when the office is so close.
And yesterday after AM talk, I went through onto the net and I read through the bill, and I got to empathize with some of the concerns that were raised by a number of the civil society organizations, as well as even the lawmakers themselves, and a number of the legal practitioners who have raised concerns about the subject of how independent the special prosecutor will be.
That's a tricky one.
Yeah.
But in partnership with Star Ghana, we'll have a series of conversations around this today here on JoyNews, ending with Ghana Connect later this evening. We'll tell you much more about it. But we also know, Roland, because we've been receiving lots of messages on the show this whole week, with parents still having, some of them still having issues with placements, lots of questions, and sometimes we can't provide the answers.
We can't at all.
We can't. But fortunately for us today, we've got the PR of the Ghana Education Service, Reverend Bette, who is joining us. What we are going to do is not our show, it's your show. So we're going to activate the phone lines.
And you tell us what you have
about your concerns, and then he's going to address. But of course, we will also touch on those heads who've been either suspended,
or interdicted or demoted.
Exactly. With him here on the show. And then we have a part 2. Oh, you love our show today, but we're not giving all out. We want you to just stick and stay and watch every little detail of it.
Yeah. Say Jesus, y'all, Neville D, and featuring Clay. And that's CJ. Okay. I enjoyed the song. That was live. Or it's just a live show that was used for the song.
I don't know.
It really felt like it was live. It was recorded.
This is the kind of song you sing early in the morning at the end of a great week. Listen, if you didn't bring enough money in your pocket, you're still alive, you still have life. Not everybody is that fortunate, so you've got to give thanks.
Well, true.
Yeah.
And today our motivation is don't judge, so don't be judging people.
Let's do the newspapers. We will touch base with a few of the online portals as well. But let's start off with the Daily Graphic newspaper. And also let me remind you that you can send us text messages. Send us text messages, particularly if you have one related to school placements, if you've gone to the school and you've got challenges. Well, we have the GES on the show this morning, so please send us your messages. Let's do the Daily Graphic newspaper. Front page of the Graphic, President outlines plans to protect fish stock. Public sector workers angry. They warn government over second
I love the Daily Graphic.
pension.
They do in between tabloid and sausage.
Also, GES sanctions 6 heads, others for flouting free SHS guidelines. Bits of the headlines making the front page of the Daily Graphic newspaper. Let's start on page 3 on public sector workers angry. What about really? The Forum for Public Sector Registered Pension Scheme has given the government up to September 29 this year to transfer funds belonging to it from the temporary pension fund account with the Bank of Ghana into the accounts of the 4 fund managers responsible for the public sector occupational pension scheme. It said anything short of that directive would compel the forum to declare an indefinite strike beginning from September 29, 2017, and they mean business. Here's a quote. We reiterate our frustration and disappointment with the manner the government and its agencies have reneged on its commitment to an out-of-court settlement negotiated in February 2016, unquote. The chairman of the forum, Mr. Isaac Bampo Addo, stated, and he was speaking at a press conference organized by the forum to voice its displeasure with the way the government was handling pension funds due the forum. Details of that in the Daily Graphic newspaper. Let's do page 20 on this GE sanctioning some herds who have flouted so soon the free SHS guidelines. Story says the GS has descended heavily on heads of second cycle schools for allegedly or for the alleged infringement of the free senior high school implementation guidelines. 5 headmasters and headmistresses have been interdicted along with an assistant headmaster and a teacher pending further investigations into the allegations against them. And don't enroll unqualified applicants. Varsities told. So public and private universities have been directed to desist from offering admission to unqualified applicants to pursue academic programs. Sure, you want to know who is speaking. It's all in the Daily Graphic newspaper. Let's see what's making headlines on the back page of the paper now. Ghana beats Guinea. Ghana beats Guinea 2-0. This is Wafu, and Benedict will be here, will give us a lot more details. Also, Eagles failed to soar in goalless draw. That's it for the headlines that I have picked in the Daily Graphic newspaper. Roland has the Ghanaian Times.
I have the Ghanaian Times. On the front page of the Ghanaian Times, Mamavi, it says 12 unions set September 29 to strike over transfer of Tier 2 pension funds from the Bank of Ghana.
I can't believe they're still having, you know, these conversations. There's still not a clear way. Government still doesn't, even though there's been like a change in government, we still don't have a clear-cut way. Just transfer the funds into their various...
And yesterday I was listening to some of the conversations on radio, and there were some estimations about the money being about $3 billion, Ghana cedis, or maybe a little more or less.
But we know government has assured, at least they've said the money is there. I think it was the regulator who said the money is there.
That's
the money
the NPR.
is sitting at the bank.
Let's hope the money is there.
No, they don't want the money to be there.
Well, the money will be there.
Just put it into the various private pension accounts.
They want it to be
that
invested
they want
for
exactly, exactly. Yeah.
Because that's where you get some dividends over time.
But apparently that is hard. That's hard for any government to do. That's what I'm learning right
that's
now.
Huge
That's
cash.
what I'm learning right now.
Huge cash. All right, so we have other stories also on the front page. Government ready to work with private schools, according to the minister. But we also have don't over-exploit Ghana's marine resources. The president warns fishing companies. But in the Afajato district, apparently, the introduction of the free SHS policy, Mamavi, is said to be injecting life into collapsing schools in the district. And some of the secondary schools were not getting lifelines, fees, etc.
I guess this is the results, part of the results that the policy wanted to achieve. So this is good
because
news.
when you look at the problems, the few problems that the policy is encountering, I think that the positives far outweigh whatever difficulties that we're encountering currently. And I'm sure over time we should resolve them. The last story we're looking at on the front page is check your land title registration in the Spectator tomorrow. Okay. And then on the back page of the Ghanaian Times, Tema Central Hospital morgue left to rot. Or they're talking about the General Hospital. And 4 years after the construction of the new Tema General Hospital morgue, the facility is lying idle and said to be deteriorating fast. Sanitation Ministry begins evacuation of illegal dump sites in Accra. Good. And then those are the stories we're looking at. And Parliament holds conference on Office of Special Prosecutor, all in the paper. Let's look at the Finder newspaper. Mamavi has that.
Finder, front page of the Finder. And I was just trying to dig into the story because if you check the front page headline, the banner headline, at least it says, President gets national ID card today because the National Identification Authority is coming up with a whole new identification card. And I mean, he's the first gentleman. So what do you think? He's getting that first ID card. We're told about mass registration. That is you and I, all of us, the rest. That program will begin next month when digital address system is ready. What does it really mean? Details of that story, page 2, story filed by the Finder's editor, Elvis Darko, says the NIA will today issue the first new national identity card known as Ghana Card to President Nana Akufo-Addo to signify its readiness for mass registration to compile a credible register of all Ghanaians. This symbolic event will officially pave way for the rolling out of the mass registration exercise for the new identification process. However, the mass registration of Ghanaians is expected to begin in November, since that is the time Ghana's national address system is slated to be ready. And so they give you a good breakdown of all the different issues embedded in just the first paragraph. It will give you a better understanding. But I'm just a bit worried because we spent so much money on the previous exercises, really. So are we scrapping the cards that some of us already have?
I think so.
Are we getting an entirely new card?
I think so.
What would it mean? Because some of the banks, in fact, I think almost all the banks were not recognizing that card, right?
Yes.
All right. Only 2% insurance penetration. Worrying. That's the NIC. That will be the National Insurance
Are you interested
Commission.
in insurance?
Yeah, I'm absolutely interested in insurance. I think the problem with insurance
as a personal investment,
as personal, yes. Okay. The thing about insurance in Ghana is a lot of the executives for the various insurance companies don't tell us the truth, because they earn commission. You mean the sales agents? The sales agents, exactly. So that's why sometimes people get really angry after an experience or two, and they tell themselves, insurance never, ever, ever, ever. So many of the times, you know, people don't want to pay for the risk, but they don't want to buy risk policies, because the risk policies usually terminate over a period. So if you pay for the year, it means the next year you're paying, and you may not necessarily be getting a fraction of what you paid, or even part of what you paid the previous year. Yeah. And kind of rolls over. Yeah. You know, and so you enjoy the policy if you are in continuum. If it matures. Payments, no. If that's the risk policy. If you continue. Okay. But we have combined policies for risk. So if let's say you have a fracture or something, an accident, or you get maimed or something like that, then you get the benefit of the risk policy. But then you may have a combined one, the risk and some kind of benefit after a certain period of maturity. Okay. So that's where, after you've paid for a number of years or months, you get to get a certain benefit or fraction of what you've contributed. Okay. When they see that the policy is solely risk, and they know that that is not likely to sell, they don't tell you that aspect of the risk aspect of the policy you're buying, because it's a risk policy. And it terminates. Usually, you may have been paying, let's say, 200 or 100 as your premium every month. And at the end of December, unless you continue the next January, you don't get to benefit from what you've contributed over the last 12 months. And nobody wants to hear that. Yeah. So that aspect is something that they always hide. So by the time, if you don't read the policy documents, you have a certain perception that insurance for them, but contributors but they have a policy document. Make sure you read it. If you feel that you don't want to, terms and conditions. If you don't want to buy the risk, don't buy a risk policy. Okay. But I see you're talking more in terms of general business. But there's also the life aspect of the insurance. Yeah, they're all part of the risk I'm talking about. But I see that with the life especially, I'm afraid, but most of the insurance companies don't have great sales people. So, and I see that they're only thinking about their commission, because if they don't get any business, they don't make commission. So sometimes they don't explain the policies well to us. Somebody just signs on, before you know, they are deducting you. And then you kind of don't understand what you've gotten yourself into. And then you ask them to stop, and they say, oh, we're taking administrative charges from what you've contributed. And you're like, really? So people kind of get angry, and they're like, okay, stop. I won't do it again. I think the best way to go about it is to generally make people have a certain interest in insurance. Yeah. And then when you do that, it starts with the salespeople. Yes. Well, I think the companies need to have a certain responsibility. It starts with the sales executives. I think the companies, but the sales executives are theirs. Yeah, but the companies generally, they don't. They've not conscientized us as to why. Because we've always had a very little penetration. I mean, this story is not. And then the 2%, when they want to go and collect some benefits, they go through a lot of bureaucracy. That also doesn't give them good testimony. It's true. Yeah. It's true. People don't even understand why they even have to do third party, because they don't give them anything really. No, lots of the commercial drivers will tell you they've done insurance, but nothing. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, continue the conversation. The story is in the Finder newspaper. So, Roland, I guess that will be it. There's also Samira Baumia inspires pupils to dream big. She's been going on this tour and trying to inspire young girls, also Muslim girls, I understand.
All right, let's do the Daily Dispatch newspaper. It has on the front page, Ghana and exportation of marijuana. Kweku Bako support idea. And you have a picture there of Kweku Bako. I don't know. I think that if we can control it, why not? Commercial harvest of marijuana in Tampe weed. Igbo. But it's not bad. It's not bad. That's a Daily Dispatch newspaper. And so the Daily Dispatch newspaper has on that front page has the front page story. Ghana and exportation of marijuana in the United States is big business.
Are you doing Daily Dispatch or you're doing Daily Guide? You're confusing me.
The Daily Dispatch.
Okay.
The Daily Dispatch newspaper. And you know, even in the US they use it. I think in many other countries too.
Oh yeah.
And I think in Africa, Lesotho also is going to be the first to do full exportation. Full business.
I think before we go all out, even with this commercial thing.
Ever taken weed before?
About. No.
Right.
No. We have to be disciplined. You must have self-discipline before you think commercial. Otherwise, Charlie, you'll be introducing it everywhere.
Anyway, BOG's new 400 million Ghana city minimum capital. Unibank and 2 other local banks will make it, analysts, and those are the stories we have. Okay, and then we also have those stories on the front page, and they're continued on the back page of the Daily Dispatch.
All right, let's do the Business and Financial Times newspaper now. Front page of the BNFT this day. Zenith Bank earmarks $50 million to support railway sector, marks 12 years of operation. So I guess it's happy anniversary to Zenith Bank. No hope for textile industry. Local companies keep reducing volume. Pirated textile now make up 77%. So feel the fabric of your favorite Africa wear that you cannot do without on Fridays. Chances are that it is not the original high quality and toxic-free material you think you bought. Local textile producers estimate that about 77% of all textiles sold in the country are pirated and may be harmful to consumers. You can continue reading this fascinating, if you like, story in the BNFT. Banks need strong corporate governance to survive, according to the governor of the Bank of Ghana. And recapitalization must be time-bound. Dusk Capital CEO seem to be saying. All the details in the BNFT, the Business and Financial Times newspaper. Let's do the online portals now. We started with myjoyonline.com. We start from home. And send me your text messages now as well so I can share as many as possible. So send us your text messages. Benedict is right on standby. We'll bring you sports and then we'll send Roland off to the CDD's office to have that all-important conversation, but not before we host the GES right here. So keep sending your messages on myjoyonline.com. Twins could be double trouble for iPhone X.
That should be, I think it should have read identical twins.
The facial recognition technology in the new iPhone X is supposed to help people easily unlock the device, but it may be most helpful to crime show
writers.
Oh, writers. Okay, all right. I guess it's almost like a feature. You might want to read it. So what, even if you are crazily identical, the other twin cannot?
No, it says that it could pose. It means that it could recognize somebody else.
Really?
Yeah, that's the important. That is if you are identical.
So what's the points then?
Well, it says it's. I'm not sure. It's 100%.
All right, so we'll leave the rest of the details for you to just click on that story and read. 2 headmasters sacked, 9 interdicted over free SHS extortion. 5 Chinese re-arrested for engaging in galamsey. So 5 Chinese were granted bail by the Bekwai Circuit Courts in the Ashanti region for engaging in illegal mining have been re-arrested for involvement in the same act. How was the first punishment like? They didn't feel it, apparently. They just went back into it.
They feel that they've invested a lot.
They went right back into it. Okay, let's move on. It was untidy quotes. Okay, it was untidy is the quotes. Bako condemns government treatment of Exton Cubic Group. Where have you been, Mr. Kweku Bako Jr.? It's good to have you back. I'm sure we'll see him on Newsfile on Saturday. I'm looking forward. Government sets... Hey, did I say Newsfile on Friday? Today's Friday.
Saturday. You said Saturday.
Government sets November to launch food production project. Also another story on the website. Government to deploy drones worth $3 million for anti-galamsey.
The drones are
company.
$3 million.
It's worth the total, I guess.
Are they plane drones? Aeroplane, Diana.
Waffle Cup, Benedict, I leave all that to you. All the waffle. It's all yours, man. Let's finish off. CAT cuts back vital services after exit of 150 doctors. The Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital has cut back on the provision of some vital services following a critical shortfall in doctors. And if you were monitoring the AM News, Roland gave you all those details with the CEO of Komfo-Anokye speaking to us as well. CSIR wants a major resurgence of fall armyworm pests. NIA unveils new ID card, ready for massive registration. And if you missed any of our programming here on Joy News, you know we do upload our content, so you can always catch up with videos on myjoyonline.com. Roland will take you through City FM, I guess.
I'll take you to City FM quickly. And City FM Online, Chinese rearrested for engaging in galamsey. CAF suspension of new admissions will have dire consequences, according to the Ghana Medical Association. 2 head teachers sacked and others apparently interdicted for charging illegal fees. MPs beg us not to chase corrupt officials, Auditor General's office. And then we have a story there. Marijuana exports could generate revenue for Ghana. Professor Dodo.
He's at the Standards Authority. He's the boss at the Standards Authority. Yes.
Currently?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I know he's a pharmacovigilance expert.
Yeah, but that's his new position now.
Okay. So he's now there.
He heads the Standards Authority. Why are you smiling?
No, me connection be on
Roland.
Right. Why are we for Ghana and Africa's failing film industry? We're serious people. It is.
Why are we for Ghana and Africa's failing film industry? We don't learn, do we? I'm not sure the industry is learning.
Charlie?
We just still shortcuts.
And there's a group apparently, they're threatening to demonstrate in the United States over the withdrawal of Exton Cubic's permits. And we already know that Kweku Bako Jr. has waited.
I beg, why demonstrate there when the action is here in Ghana? Charlie? That place who will see you.
Say again, no.
Come down to Ghana. Come down to Ghana and do the demonstration, so that we'll see your show. Let's do, you're through?
Yes, so let's do the Africa page of the BBC Mama V.
Chibok girls reunited with families. The women kidnapped by Boko Haram in 2014 are now fully recovered. That's according to a Nigerian minister. That will be them, I guess. The fate of the Chibok girls, the man who brought back the Chibok girls also. So all those stories on the BBC. Some Africa highlights. Thousands flee Ethiopia clashes. Mugabe registers to vote. Zimbabwe's president kickstarts the voter registration process. And more, you know, he's called for, a registration exercise, as in. So that's the exercise that started. Libya IRA reparations fund call rejected. Biafra protects 10 deadly Nigeria. SA student battles robbers over thesis. Samfa beats Sharon at Mercury Prize. And they say he won the biggest prize, if you like. Okay, so more stories on the BBC Africa page you can check out. But I want to spend the next couple of minutes reading the messages that you've sent to us via regular texts. We do appreciate that, lots of them, but we'll get there. All right, this one says, I always get inspired whenever I listen to you. That's from Hello Richard in Akachi, sending us this text messages. This text message, this one says, how can unemployment stop when vocation training schools has become very expensive to attend? Example, you can contact Brewa NVTI for an admission process. Okay.
That's advert.
No, I don't know. I thought the import it's becoming expensive. So if you like, check out Brewa, or I'm not sure. Richmond in Enum Boso says the authorities of Boso Senior High Technical School are extorting 100 cedis from the first years. I'll be grateful if there's a follow-up. All right, we'll find some answers to this. This one says, Roland's design is nice, but Mamavi's is awesome. Charlie, my heart was sinking. Eben in Kumasi Atonsu, we thank you.
This by Ellis Couture. Charlie, Mamma Nanam Hono Munchini. I don't know what. Camera.
This one says with the school placement. I think Roland, you're distracting the messages. You're distracting the messages. Let me not tell you that this looks like a girl's top.
Oh. Girl, you're in fashion crowd.
I could wear this on Friday, you know. I could wear this. I could rock some jeans on this.
But so now cabra for say unisex. I wouldn't unisex.
So what, the men are rocking unisex now? With a school placement, I think they're going to learn from their mistakes and improve by next year. That's from Matt Solo in Crawford Senior High School. Yeah, I think we kind of know that by now. It's going to get better, at least. AU Farouk in Tamale says, good morning to you all. The 2 headmasters that have been sacked and 9 others have also been interdicted for charging fees from free SHS beneficiaries. Okay, so you're telling us basically, you know, what the news is. So you've been following, definitely. This one says, we want to know when the salary arrears of teachers will be paid. Why, Abdallah? Please give us more if you really want us to ask that question. Give me more details. Where are you? Because I'm not sure it's all teachers across the board. So be specific with what you're asking. The agents of these insurance policies don't explain the policies well to us. I'm a victim of this risk policy thing. From Jolalian Nyasa in Avadakpa. So there we go. Some of the, not all of them though, some of your insurance companies, some of your sales executives, they don't tell us the true facts. They are too quick to get us to agree to the deduction from source, knowing what they would get when we do that. So they don't explain. This one says, please investigate this. The diploma nurses who are on national service have not been paid the allowance since they started in April. I think
it's not a problem. You'll be paid very soon.
George in Debogre in Wa. I think this is
George in Debogre. You'll be paid very soon.
It's not him, it's his daughter.
Relax.
This one says, Benjamin from Tamale, more big ups. Thank you so much for watching the show. This one says, tell Roland that I would like to meet him. Salem Governor in Tamale. Just be here. Roland is cool like that.
December.
The headmasters should have been demoted, okay, for defying free SHS policy. Justice from Kumasi. So let's pause
they have
the
been demoted
here.
Yeah, going back to teach in the classroom.
Punishment 2 of them have been for different people.
Have been dismissed and others interdicted.
All right, let's just pause here. We'll get Benedict in the studio to give us a lot more sports. Yeah, with the Wafu and the, which one is that? Is it a Europa League?
We've had a Europa League, and then there will be Premier League over the weekend.
So what's happening with local league as well? All the updates with Benedict. And then the next time you see Roland Walker, he'll be coming to us live from the CDD's office with that conversation.
We're talking about the International Day of Democracy. We know that there's already been a release sent to my phone this morning by the National Commission for Civic Education. So we read all.
Oh, they sent you something?
Yeah.
To you as Roland Walker citizens. So should we all be expecting something?
I think it's a public statement.
So should we be expecting something from on our phones?
Yes.
So this is like the first from the NCC?
No. It's just a news release that was sent to me.
I thought to all Ghanaians something. They should be doing that.
To press house.
To all Ghanaians. To all citizens of Ghana.
That would have been great, right?
So stay with us. That conversation would be made possible with the kind partnership of Star Ghana. So a lot of details to share with you.